We've got new versus old Castle Grayskull coming up after this. We have a brand new Castle Grayskull from the Origins line. It is the street name for it. I don't like to call it that. I like to call it the new definitive Masters of the Universe line. If you haven't checked out my review of the new Castle Grayskull, you're definitely going to want to check that out first. Now we are going to be comparing the elements of the new one versus the old one and take a look at what's better, what's worse. Since I have the insides opened, we're going to have to take a look at the front of the castle at the end of the video, so that's when we'll compare the faces. I also have the 2000X castle here. I have the Classics one. I've never opened it. I'm definitely going to sell that. I have Talon Fighter here. I also want to compare the color on the new ring. Did you know these are stackable? I'm going to have to do a video about that. When these go on clearance, I will be buying as many as possible so I can stack and stack and stack and make the coolest Grayskull shelf ever. But if you didn't know that, that's just a little tip that you can stack those. The set comes with the Sorceress. She might actually be my favorite figure yet. I like a simple figure, so the fact that she is just in white, I never had one because the 6th wave was the wave that I did not get as a kid. That's when I was too old for toys. And nowadays, it costs twice the price of the new castle to get her. So I'm so happy to get her, and the face is so much better. I really didn't like the She-Ra. The WWE girls, I'm not really loving those either. Tila and Evelyn were okay, but Sorceress takes the cake. She looks really fantastic. I hope we do see Marlena and King Randor. They're really my most anticipated right now. And I'm not even a Filmation fan. I just think, who doesn't want a royal family? Let's take a look at this ladder just because it's up front first. Huge difference here. Same, it's like identical lengths, but so much better to have this one that fits the scale of the figures, don't you think? Other than this little dinky one, which really didn't make sense. But beautiful, beautiful design, very reminiscent rope tying rudimentary wood together. We have the weapons rack. This one scythe, axe, whatever it is, that's my most disappointing part of the whole set, is that this doesn't really set properly. This is the way it has it in the instructions. This is how you're supposed to display these weapons. Works better in that direction for sure, but the biggest disappointment of all is that we did not get this many weapons. It's quite sad, actually. But let's compare the ones that we did get. There's a lot of homages on this stand. As you can see, it has the little pegs that were there to hold the weapons. It even has this on the side, which this doesn't really fit onto. But the same ones that we got do differ a little bit, but I would say they're hunkier and chunkier, so I'm happy about the improvements. I like the bigger, sturdier, thicker pieces that we're getting in the new set, even though there is still something about the 70s, 80s designs of the original that you just can't duplicate. But I do like how sturdy the new stuff is. This is the most bizarre piece to me because they totally revamped it. If it's not going to fit on the stand anyway, why didn't they just use the Classics one? So I guess these are the Classics ones, and we got one in the WWE line, and we got one in the Masters of the Universe line. But for some reason, every once in a while, they go back to design and they make it completely different. I don't know why they do that. I am actually a fan of reproducing the things in different colors. I actually really like that. This time with the gun, they put it on a peg. Again, it's a very updated version of the gun itself. This is like what Masters of the Universe is. Barbaric versus technology. It's so funny to see the guns in there. That's the extent of the ones that they produced. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these rack weapons that they did not unfortunately produce. Let's take a look at the difference between the two racks again. You can see that they put in all of the places and details that the same one had, but we don't have the weapons or the capabilities of putting the weapons on the rack. But I do like the similarities. It's one of the examples of one of the things that got smaller. They included an extra weapons rack, which I think is great to display the triple swords. This seems to come out of nowhere for me, and I really didn't understand it. I still don't. I'm unaware of this rack showing up in any media if you do know where this came from. But what I didn't really remember at first was this weapons rack. So I guess that is what they are imitating, because we did have an extra weapons rack and it was in cardboard form. I can't find my cardboard for my original, so I do have these printouts. Should we move on to the computer? The new computer is the winner for sure, even though this artwork is so incredible, and they did reproduce it, but it does not live up to what we saw. You can see that the screen has the same on it. I'd have to say that this painting, this piece of artwork, is definitely my favorite from all of this. It's the one that turned out the most 70s and 80s designed. The rest of them are very, computerized, colored, digital, and I do have the other ones here. Let's look at the flag and the comparison there. They did a great job. It's funny how this old printout that I did in the early 2000s, probably, I printed this out, I got it online. I'm sure there's a better one now, but it didn't have the flag, but I fortunately have that thing, and I've had a lot of questions about why I didn't put the sticker on. This is an example of why I didn't put the sticker on. This isn't my childhood Grayskull. I unfortunately gave that one away, but all of these are examples of why I did not put the sticker on, because it's just too many chances of imperfection. Also, this is so much more like having a prototype when I don't put the stickers on, so that makes me a lot more happier. Like I said in the beginning of the video with the Sorceress, I do like things that are more simple, even though I do appreciate these, and I love their attempt at recreating, even though they should have just made copies of the paintings, because nothing compares, or had the incredible artists that have worked on that box. They did an incredible job, and I did not show that enough. I think at the end of this video I will give you a better look at the artwork on the box, because it's really incredible, and I commend those fans that grew up and they just brought that old feeling of the 70s and 80s back to life. So that is the comparison between the dungeon and then the back of the throne. Now the throne is flat now, so the sticker can lie a lot better. I don't know, if I get an extra one, maybe I will apply the stickers. They have the double-sided flag to show who controls the castle, and I love that part. It's smaller in this case. It is interesting to see which things are smaller, which things are bigger. The sticker was for the mini computer over here. How do they compare? Here, let me snap this out, see if I can. There's definitely some similarities there. Now the spacesuit. There is a nice peg here. I so hope we get that figure. Maybe it'll come with the Talon Fighter. Maybe we'll get it separately. Look, there's another one of those guns sitting beside him. We need this. I hope it is planned. There must be a reason they left it out. I don't think they would have left it out if they didn't have intentions on making it. I think they would have made what they did with the classics, this little coffin thing. I would say most anticipated after King Randor right now. Oh, and the Green Goddess. I'm most excited for the Green Goddess. I need King Randor, Green Goddess, and this spacesuit, which incidentally could be Marlena too. That's what they should do. They should make this a Marlena double deluxe pack. Let me show you this without the swords on it. Next to this one. Again, please tell me if you know where this came from. I love it though. Beautiful wood plastic design. I know we saw this other flag before, but it's not in any of the Grayskull stuff. Is that in a new design? Why don't I have my glasses on? Did we see this other one before? The fact that these are made of material is so awesome, so incredible. I'm so happy about that. I don't know why I didn't do this either. That is the difference between the computer. I love this computer though. So much better than a piece of cardboard. It's a beauty. The flagpole itself, this is very, very 70s. But this one they made three-dimensional and bigger, and it's taller and bigger. So these are all good. The flag itself is smaller, but that's not cool. But that is how they reproduced this. It's just that design, so 70s, so nice. More sleek, but hey, this is the modern times, right? This battling combat, whatever thing, they gave the boar a real face. That crazy Battle Cat boar. I think I always did feel that was Battle Cat, or a Battle Cat. And this, I never knew what it was. As a kid, I always remember thinking that it looks like a mistake. It looks like something's missing. You're supposed to snap something on it or something. And apparently it was a fist. I can kind of see a fist in it now that we have gotten this one. But I mean, a three-dimensional boar. They added an extra leg. I'm not sure I like that. It doesn't make sense. I'd rather have 3 claws. It just makes more sense. Everything's cooler about 3 than 4, especially for a claw. But I guess it's nice and sturdy now. It is definitely heavy. It's super heavy. These are solid pieces of plastic. This is a solid piece. It spins very, very well too. Great, great design on that pig. I love it. So good. Wonder if you can stick something in that fist. This is from the WWE playset. The bench, the stairs to the ring. It's not the same colored plastic. That's disappointing. That could have been great if it was a perfect match. But I mean, it still fits really well into the castle and the universe. There is a peg hole for the flag up here. The chairs. Now this is where this one has turned out more 70s. I mean, it's hard to not see this one that way with the color that it is. But it is so much like the prototype with the 3 prongs at the top. Love that. I love that it's flat and that the sticker will go on so much better than it did on the original. This is one from my original castle, and it had broken, I think, at one point. And when I got rid of my toys in the 80s, I saved all of my figures and this chair and all the accessories, but I did grind this down so Zodak could sit in that. Later I took off the sticker because, again, it was buckled and not perfect. But that is very similar. I love the pegs. That makes things so much more secure. This might be an example of where something was improved. Still, it's hard to say that this isn't incredible 80s design. Everything feels more like, I would say, a pail and shovel material. I didn't know how to describe the plastic until now, but I would say that it's more little beach plastic shovel. But that's good because it feels really durable and that it's going to withstand the time, the castle frame as well. Okay, the blaster up above. The peg system is 100 times better. It is one of the items that are bigger. We've got a nice secure snap into place. There's only 2 positions. This was more loose. You had more variables, but this is more sturdy. And they kind of copied it. Again, very much updated, much sturdier. But yeah, this is one where it's hard for me to choose if I have a personal preference. I love them both. There's a lot more details on this one, but they did quite a good job at bringing it into the future. Okay, I guess now is the hard part. Maybe I should take it apart. Yeah. The new one doesn't come broken in 2. As you can see with the Jawbridge, we have more teeth on this one than this one, and they're more jagged, and there's probably just as much detail. The funny thing about the new door is that there's no latch on it. You can do it manually. You can press on where it connects, but there's no pull latch like the original had. The floor is all smooth here. That did bring in more of that 70s modern future space element to it. Here they went all rustic with the wooden floors, and those are some big boards with some big nails in the floor. Kind of cartoonized. Somebody did compare this in the comments to a Fisher-Price set, and I would have to agree, and that is why I love it. I am a huge Fisher-Price fan, and again, minimum paint, big chunks of colored plastic. That's what I like. We have a smaller bird anchor this time for the elevator. That I don't like. I definitely prefer the bigger one that we got there. It's a little tinier, but it does have more detail than the original one did. And the elevator is almost identical. It's a little smaller, and it is made out of two pieces that have to be snapped together. More things came assembled on the new castle than the old castle. You had to put most of the stuff together. The biggest change to the castle is the extra floor. And another comment on my last video pointed out that the art on the box, when it shows the castle, does not depict this back part in the artwork. So that's really funny. But when it's closed, you get that great big area up there. I guess now would be a good time to compare the faces themselves. It is really hard to compare to this. It's nice to see that it's bigger, and in some ways it does look better. It is a hard choice. This green wash I did not notice until I looked back at the videos when I was editing. Something else worth noting is that this one has a basement. I guess Castle Grayskull kind of had a basement in the front, but it went right to the floor, while this one is elevated off the floor. You might have noticed that in the video. We have this little space here. It's kind of bizarre. I don't know why they chose to do that. It would have been so much better for play without having that step up. The Jawbridge. If people called it the Jawbridge opposed to the Drawbridge before, you can definitely see there the difference. It's really nice to have those painted details. They look pretty sweet. But if you take a look at this one, we've got that 70s influence again. And yeah, it's hard to compare anything to the design of that. The whole front, I would have to sum it up saying that it is a cartoon version of it. But I am down with that. I love that it's bigger and fatter and hunkier and chunkier. But this dark design is incredible. They actually painted the roofs on the back side. So you can see the difference there between the missing tower over here than on here. And again, on the box, it is depicted like this. But very, very similar to the back. We have an extra open window here. This little detail got axed for a tower. I would take the tower over that for sure. The floors inside are completely different. They're not going to be interchangeable. I believe somebody asked that question as well. Point Dread, that is another color difference, even though these would be many, many different colors. It's kind of connecting actually in this position. I'm pretty sure that is a complete coincidence, but it's lying flat and staying in place. So that's possible. It's not sturdy. What do you think of that? The 2000X Grayskull, completely different. This was its own thing. They really took some liberties with this one. That's a whole entity in itself, really. It fell apart a lot, too. Things don't fall off this one. The pegs and everything are really tight fits, and everything has a place and can be changed around a lot. There are different places where you can move around the flags to the different corners of the floor. So they have all those options, and there's a lot of peg systems to hold all of the accessories into place well. Man, I hope we get that astronaut suit. What's that little hole there? You can see a little factory something. The white speckles in it are really not noticeable. I don't really see them unless I look really, really closely. The way that the castle closes is a major difference. There are two little tabs that held it shut, which really worked really well. It fit together perfectly. And then on this, we have the upside down hooks, which I find really strange that they are upside down. You usually would hook something over, but that works super well. It does, it really feels like a plastic bucket, even for washing the floors. That's what it feels like. It feels sturdier and safer. I could have done without the paint wash. I don't need that, but you know, I love less paint. I do love the roof sprays though. I am really happy with those. So I guess I showed everything. I hope I didn't miss anything. If you want to see something, let me know. Maybe I'll put a picture up on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. It's just toohunky on Instagram. Stay tuned to the end of this video, and I'll show you a difference between the original plans and the new plans. And I'll also show you a better look at the beautiful art on the box itself. Hope you'll like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Maybe this would be a better thumbnail for this video. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on here. It's oddly very, very similar. The way that it opens is the same. The old one is much longer. I would love to have these in their forms. That would be so cool to have. But that is the contents list. This is the contents list. This artwork is so nice. I love it. There was definitely a lot more assembly in the original. I've always loved these diagram artwork pieces. Gotta get that astronaut suit. Really need that. The original instructions definitely win the battle, though. Hands down with that artwork. I even have the 2000X one. Now that flag, that didn't compare. Look how tiny those computer stickers are. Those are just miniature. And then, look at this. Look at Axel's incredible, incredible artwork. Can we get that beast? Can we get all of his creations? Those skeleton demons. Look at that. The smoke, the paint. There's our sorceress. Beautiful. So good. And then I love that too. Who are those characters flying on those birds? Can we get them? That's my favorite character, Zodak. Who's flying them? Can you make out who those characters are? Beautiful. So reminiscent of the original. Look, somebody sliced my box at the store. See the missing tower on the artwork? Did I forget to show the color difference between the ring and Grayskull itself? Well, they really brought out the matte with the shading. It's not the same plastic, but they look pretty good together. This could be outside. It's the same as having a pool next to your house. You just have a wrestling ring. Actually, looks really good. It's kind of like a gate. Trampoline. I didn't put that sticker on either. Let's do the Jawbridge. It's spring-loaded, so it'll spring back into place. There's no latch or anything. It just falls down. I guess that's a little inconvenient. The sword sticks in there, and it's gonna fall like that. So then you have to take it out. Yeah, that's not the best functionality, I'd have to say. Do that, then pull it out, and then let it fall. It's better with the switch, for sure.